Hello there, and welcome to Veterans Medals Workshop, where we have a great show today. I think you're going to enjoy it, so let's get started. Hello, I'm glad you could join us today. I think you're really going to enjoy the show on United States Army Guide to Military Ribbons and Medal Wear. And you will find all that information in this incredible booklet, which I'm going to walk you through. But we get thousands of questions over the last couple of years from National Guard, Army Reservists, active duty, especially non-commissioned officers, which set the standard for the Army wear of military ribbons and medals, and from families and veterans alike. They want to know, what do these ribbons mean? How do I identify them? What are the devices that go on there? How do they go together? And if I had prior service in the Marine Corps or the Navy or the Air Force or the Coast Guard, and I earned some ribbons and medals in that service, which ones of them can I wear in the Army and which ones of them I cannot? And what are all of these devices? Stick with me, and I'm going to walk you through all of that information. The program's a little longer today, but we're going to cover a lot of ground. And if a picture's worth 1,000 words, okay, you're going to get a lot of pictures too. So let's go take a look. The 24-page booklet, Army Military Ribbons and Medal Wear Guide, opens up with an introductory page with, of course, a table of content, which is very helpful. Pages 2 and 3 start with an outline on the order present, an attachment for the medals, and explains the overall view of how the Army does its ribbons. For example, today you can wear your ribbons in rows with no spaces between them, or you can wear them with 1/8 of an inch between them, as these examples show. So there are plenty of examples that show how they're worn, how they look on the green uniform, and in this case wearing 4 ribbons abreast, or in this case on the blue uniform wearing 3 abreast with 1/8 of an inch in between. So now we'll go on and get to the Rosetta Stone part of the book. On page 4 and 5, if it looks like there's a lot of information there, it's because, well, there is a lot of information there. And let's just say in your family you found these 2 ribbons. And how in the world are you going to identify them? Well, you can start on this page, which talks about all the Army decorations, service medals, and unit awards since 1861. And of course, this narrows it down a little bit on the right-hand page from 1941 to present. But let's start over here, and we go down, and there it is, the World War I Victory Medal, and then the American Defense Medal. And let's say that you found something even stranger sometime. Well, here's the World War I Victory Medal, but this very unusual black-looking medal with ribbon with the white and then the red and blue is a very rare occupation of Germany from 1918 to 1923. And it's followed by the ETO, or European, African, and Middle East Campaign Medal with 2 battle stars. Identifying Vietnam Veterans Awards is pretty easy with this. You can go right up and see, okay, he earned the Army Commendation Medal with 1 oak leaf cluster, and then later not the Joint Service, but the Army Achievement Medal with 2 oak leaf clusters. And, ooh, that's unusual. That's a silver bar with 2 silver knots on his Good Conduct Medal. And this just shows a bronze one. I'll show you how to read those in just a minute because it's kind of unique, and there's a very special section here to identify all of the devices. Come down, National Defense, Vietnam Service with 4 campaign stars. Let's see, what's the green one? No, it's not the Korean. There it is. It's a non-commissioned officer professional development ribbon with a 3 numeral on it. Then the Army Service ribbon and the Overseas Service ribbon with the numeral 4. The green and white ribbon with the devices, there it is. the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal. Pages 6 and 7 are very interesting because 6 is for today's members of the armed forces and the regular forces, the United States Army National Guard and Reserve Forces, because it's the current set of U.S. Army ribbons and devices. And for example, if you found this medal and you didn't know what it was, you can easily identify it as a Korean Defense Service Medal. It's the same thing for current ribbons. You can quickly see Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal, Good Conduct Medal. Here we are, Southwest Asia Service Medal with 2 campaign stars, Desert Storm. And this soldier has been around for a good many campaigns because sounds like we're on board ship. The Afghanistan Campaign Medal and the Iraqi Campaign Medal, or Desert Storm, depending on which variation. Then the new Global War on Terror Expeditionary Medal and the Global War on Terror Service Medal, along with the one that we identified earlier, non-commissioned officer training, Army service, overseas service, and then we come down and identify the Kuwaiti Liberation Medal as issued by Saudi Arabia, and the unique-looking Kuwaiti Liberation Medal from the Emirate of Kuwait. In today's United States Army, it's not unusual for a soldier to have served at another member of the armed forces, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, or the Coast Guard. And this page is very unique in that it shows you in the correct order of precedence every one of the medals and ribbons of the other armed forces that the Army authorizes the soldiers to wear if they have earned them. This is especially helpful because it's the correct order of wear for all of the foreign awards that have been usually or issued to soldiers since World War II. For example, now let me show you the right way up. Philippine Defense Ribbon. All of the United Nations medals or ribbons that are authorized members of the United States Army. And you can see this one is for the UN peacekeeping mission in Palestine. And then we have the difference between all of the NATO medals. And I don't know if I showed you before, but for example, on this senior non-commissioned officer, you see he has a NATO medal, and if you identify it, this is a NATO medal for Bosnia. This ribbon may look the same. This is the NATO medal for Afghanistan, Sudan, or Iraq. The Army also authorizes the wear of multi-service unit citations from other armed forces of the United States, and here they are shown in the correct order of precedence. And here visually is another list of awards that cannot be worn on the Army uniform. I'd like to say it's just as easy to identify military medals. Start up here, Legion of Merit, Bronze Star, Meritorious Service Medal. Here again is a summary of all the unit awards and the attachments, as well as examples of how full-size medals are worn on the older blue uniform, the new blue uniform, how ribbons were worn on the green uniform in the Vietnam era and the Cold War era, and what it's going to look like in the new pinks and green uniform. But there'll be more detail than that. And by the way, this little reference chart along the side tells you where to go to find out the detailed information on each one of these devices, and I'll show you. This is an extraordinary chart that I'm not aware of anywhere else, and it lists all of the Army ribbon devices alphabetically, starting with the airplane that was issued during the Berlin airlift, It shows you the arrowhead device, for example. Let me see if I can find a good example of that. Yes, here's the arrowhead device on the ETO medal. And that tells you that it's a combat, assault, or invasion. When we were talking about different devices on the Good Conduct Medal, the additional awards of service, awards 2 through 5, are shown in bronze with different knots. And then a silver bar with additional knots is used for awards 6 through 10. And for those soldiers that have been in for a really long time, and won the Good Conduct Medal every re-enlistment, there's a gold bar that indicates additional awards 11 through 15. Also explains the M device, the V device for valor and why it's awarded, all of the other devices to include, for example, on the Overseas Service Ribbon, it shows you the total number of awards of a total number of overseas tours, in this case 3. On the Army Non-Commissioned Officer Professional Development Ribbon, the one that we looked at, I think, showed 3 awards, and that tells you that the level of professional training achieved was advanced. The use of all the other additional devices on all Army ribbons to include the brand new C device to indicate an award during a combat, or the R device for indicating an award in remote fighting. Something every career soldier needs to know is the placement of, for example, the letter V on the ribbon and medal, and this shows you exactly how it is placed along with additional awards. This shows you how the different oak leaves are placed on the medals. So up to 3 in this case, or in this case, this individual soldier has received 5 additional awards of the Commendation Medal, so a total of 6, and he has received 8 awards of the Army Achievement Medal. Of course, take a look at the number of knots that he has on there, and you can easily tell what that is that he's had 9 different awards of the Good Conduct Medal. Same for the M devices, additional awards, placement of campaign stars on the ribbon, how you place the C combat device and the R remote device, along with additional awards using. The next section, starting on page 17, is something that every active duty, reserve, and National Guard soldier is interested in, and that's how you go about wearing the ribbons and medals on your uniform to include your miniature medals. There's a short description that tells you how that goes down, but even better, as we always say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and in that case, is detailed layouts of where every device goes on the ribbon, starting with the male officer's uniform, to include the mess dress, full dress with medals, the new pinks and greens, and, well, as I said, the mess dress is another example. There's also detailed explanations for the female officer's uniform, as you can see from both the right side and left side, and how the ribbons and the devices are worn on the white uniform shirt and on the mess dress. Of course, the non-commissioned officers of the Army set the standards with how they wear their uniform. And here's an exact example of how on the new dress blues, the ribbons are worn, where the rank insignia goes, devices, where the overseas bars are located, the difference between the current hash marks on the new blue uniform and on the old blue uniform, how the medals are worn, and then how they're going to be worn on the new pinks and green uniform. And the same information is here for female enlisted, in this case showing both sides of the uniform, and the white shirt. We go back here and show how it was done on the green shirt, which is very similar to the blues, and how it's going to look on the new pinks and greens. So I think you will find this a very helpful booklet. And one of the things I've always found helpful is exact pictures of how the ribbons go on the uniform along with the unit awards and the different badges, how up to 5 or 6 badges can be worn and how the ribbons would be displayed. And this is a particularly interesting case because this senior non-commissioned officer displays 4 ribbons in each row, is while this non-commissioned officer displays 3 sets of ribbons in each row. This officer shows where his ribbons and badges go, his unit awards, and his combat identification badge. And you can see some other good examples as well as left and right examples for non-commissioned officers for the location of the rank insignia and the hash marks and overseas bars. And then not to forget our veterans. There's a nice page describing how veterans can wear their medals, full size, miniatures, ribbons, mini ribbons, and of course on a tuxedo if you want to, with a description on when it's appropriate and how it's done. So I hope this is helpful. It's a really neat little book. It's about 24 pages, and in addition, it has on the back a full medal chart from all 3 Medal of Honors all the way down to the Korean War Service medal. It's the last foreign award authorized. Thank you for joining us today for our show on how to wear United States Army ribbons and medals. I think you'll find that guide very interesting. It's available for you on both Amazon and Medals of America Press, and it may even be on sale now on Medals of America Press, just special for you, of course. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a like, even better, subscribe, and we'll see you at our next edition of Veterans Medals Workshop.